Good morning, and you're very welcome to this morning's live. Now, this morning we're going to be talking about kitchen countertops. So just continuing the theme of kitchens for this month and focusing in particular on some of the man-made products that are available and just discussing their durability, the different options, and really there are just some amazing options out there for kitchens. So hopefully we'll cover all of your questions today. Again, we got so many. So we've tried to group them as best we can, and myself and Ciara will go through them and try and cover each of the topics that you guys have been asking about. So plenty to go through. So this morning I'm going to be joined by Ciara McWilliams of Cosentino. So they supply Soilstone, Defton, just the most amazing products. So Ciara's going to run through these wonderful products, a little bit of history about the company, which is really fascinating, and then we'll get to all of your questions. So hopefully there's plenty for you to take away today. So I'm just going to invite Ciara now. I see her there.
Hello.
Good
morning.
Hi, Ciara. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Thank you so much for giving up your Saturday morning now to go through this morning. It's an amazingly popular topic. We've tons and tons of questions. So we'll do our best to race through them, Ciara.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me, Denise. It's great to be here and be able to talk about our company and our products that we offer. So thank you so much.
Not at all. No. It's amazing products. And maybe, Ciara, just to kick off, would you give us a little bit of background about the company and then the products that you guys make and supply?
Absolutely. So my name is, as Denise said, is Ciara McWilliams. So I'm the design specialist for Cosentino Ireland. And basically Cosentino it's an international company, but it's still actually a family-run business. So it was formed in 1979 by the Cosentino family over in Almeria in Spain. So they created say slabs of marble when they started off, and it was all natural stone and granites. And as the years progressed, they were looking at other alternatives, and they created another product called Soilstone, which is a quartz. And obviously a man-made product, which revolutionized the whole industry in regards to quartz in our kitchens and not just granite countertops. We also have another product then called Dodekton, which is another man-made product. So both of these are created from our companies. And as well as that, we've also maintained our natural stone, so our marbles, our quartzites, and our granites that we source from all over the world. So that's ourselves now.
Plenty to choose from. No, it's really fascinating, and I think as well, like Soilstone was the first quartz. Am I right? It was the first product. So I guess there's plenty. Lots of people be very familiar with that. And then of course Defton is the newest innovation in surfaces.
It is indeed.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Ciara, so look, I might just jump into the questions because there are so many. I know I shared some of them with you last night, but then we've had loads this morning as well.
Great.
So just first, the lots and lots of questions about the differences between Defton and Corian. Can you explain a little bit about the two and why they're different?
So between Defton and Corian, is it?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Defton, because I have a Corian question as well. Defton and the Soilstone, the quartz product. Yeah.
Okay, so first off, Soilstone they're both man-made products. They're both created in our factories in Almeria in Spain in large slabs. So you don't have your joint lines as such, because you do if it's a large kitchen, but they're very minimal. So that's the first thing. So that's a similarity, but in a difference case is quartz and Soilstone is made up of raw materials from the ground. They have resin in them, so they are suitable for indoor use perfectly. Very good for countertops. You have your high scratch resistance, heat resistance, and staining resistance. But with the quartz, because there's resin in it, you still need your chopping board. You still can't take something straight out of the oven or a hob and pop it straight down, because you will burn it. And you do need to mind it a little bit. Now, it's generally maintenance free, but you do need to give it a bit more minding because there is a resin in it, like you would with a natural stone anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas Defton is just another level altogether, because it's an ultra compact surface. And the way it's created, I suppose there's a metaphoric rock, bit of geography involved, and a science experiment in the whole thing. But there's no resin involved in it. There's different raw materials made up in it as well.
Yeah.
It also makes it fully durable, that it's almost indestructible. Unfortunately, nothing is indestructible, but it's as close to it in a surface you're going to get. Fully suitable for put your hot pot down in it. No chopping board needed. Basically maintenance free. Regards, does not stain at all. Suitable for indoor or outdoor use, because it has the UV protections on it. So that's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two, and it's also suitable for other applications, not just countertops. Then, as a result, because it is so durable, and absolutely, they're both fantastic products. As such, so I suppose it just depends on what you're looking for in regards to colours or patterns, or how you want your kitchen to be used.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I have a quartz countertop myself, and it's a very light colour. I actually find it really easy to keep clean, and we had a brilliant question about turmeric. I mean, I think it's probably one of the biggest offenders, that and red wine. And, I'd use turmeric a lot, and as long as you get to it quickly, it's absolutely fine. So, you have to be careful, but I personally find the quartz really easy to keep, and I have some of the samples of the Defton.
Oh, brilliant.
So this is just some of the stuff that you sent, and they come in such amazing, the different finishes. You can see these are slightly matte. They feel really lovely.
Absolutely fabulous. No,
there's a wealth of different styles and prints and all sorts of things here, isn't there?
There is, and really basically we've quite a large portfolio of colours anyway, but they're constantly creating. Like even next April, we have another range of colours coming out on the market, so they're constantly moving with the trends and what people are looking for. So they're listening to their customers, which is great, because we always have something new then to get excited and showcase and bring to the likes of yourselves then. So it's fantastic. Absolutely
fabulous. No, it's great. So I guess that the question, because there were so many questions about what is the most durable countertop, and it is definitely Dodekton. That is it. As you say, it's as close to indestructible as you're going to get. Okay.
Absolutely. It would take an awful lot for you to damage a Dodekton worktop. I'm not saying you can't do it, but the way we work with our kits to test a Dodekton, we include lighters, we include nail varnish, we include key. So go at it. See how you get on. But unless you're going to really, really get a hammer at your worktop, it's very difficult to damage.
To damage it. Well, that's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. And I do see a question there. What is it, Dodekton? So Dodekton, it's a man-made product, and it's made under compression, really. So there's no resin in it. It's a super durable man-made product, man-made surface. So
that's it. Yes. Basically, there's lots of different raw materials in it. You could find a bit of ceramics, you could find a bit of glass, porcelain made into the mix in regards to it. But it's a great product. And I see there's another question in regards to thicknesses and sizes. So the most popular size in a countertop would be the 2cm. In regards to, so it's going in line with the modern kitchen style, the 2cm, the thinner countertops. And in regards to the different finishes, you have some polished, you have some textured, and you have some suede, depending on what particular colour you're looking at or style of the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's the same, isn't it, with natural stone, and then with the Soilstone as well? Because again, we got lots of questions about the different finishes available, and then what are the pros and cons for different finishes? Are there, like when it comes to the man-made surfaces, I know with stone, for example, natural stone, they will say that the more highly polished, the more durable it's going to be, and then the more matte, obviously the more you're going to have to look after it. So a lot of people don't recommend too many matte finishes in the natural stone. But with the man-made surfaces, Ciara, what are the recommendations?
So I suppose because it's a man-made product, and they're non-porous materials, both of them, whereas a natural stone would be porous. So they should be fine to a certain degree. I think if you're very, very picky and you've kind of some sort of OCD almost in the kitchen, like I might would have, In regards to a matte quartz, if you have, say, a black, you can have the fingerprints sometimes. You might just be cleaning it a little bit more. You won't have that with the polish. Now, having said that, you know, a normal person wouldn't see that. But that would be just my concern in regards to you're constantly wiping it down. But we still sell an awful lot of it, and we don't get complaints back, to be fair. And then in regards to Dodekton, either or. It's fully scratch resistant, stain resistant. You won't get your finger marks or anything on it in regards to anything like that. So that would be the only difference. But you'd also have that in a natural stone as well. So
It's interesting, and I think, you know, we had this discussion with Ed Rashkin from Rashkin and Hicken. You know, what he was saying, what he advises people is think seriously about your lifestyle. It's the same with timber floors in kitchens, you know, so how much is a little bit of discoloration or wear and tear going to bother you? And if it doesn't, then fine. If it does, then maybe think about, you know, alternatives.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, there's nothing like the natural stone or marble, but if you're in a busy house with kids that are going to be colouring at the kitchen table, or you're a big coffee drinker, or you're hoping to have a few parties with couples of bottles of red wine, or that, you know, you need to be practical. So it may not be for your kitchen. It might look fabulous, but you might be better off going for a man-made product like this quartz or Soilstone Defton, rather than the marble or the natural material. So it's either or as such.
No, absolutely. And the wonderful thing now with the Soilstone and Dodekton in particular, there, you know, you sort of have to go up and try and figure out, my goodness, is it real or not? Because it's so advanced now, the printing and stuff like that. So it's fabulous.
It is. And we've a new technology out as well called Hybrick in our Soilstone. And it's just bringing us to the next level in regards to patterns and textures of what we can achieve back in our factories when we're creating slabs. So it is, which is, I'm really excited for our next collection as a result of it, because they're blowing it out of the water, and it's great to see because they're getting closer and closer to mimicking the look and the aesthetics of a natural stone.
No, amazing. Okay, brilliant. Great, Ciara. And then in terms of price, because we've got so many questions about different price points. So if we take stone, then Soilstone or quartz and Dodekton, what are the different price levels? Like, is stone the most expensive, the least expensive, or where do they rank?
So the way we work is we have groupings for each particular stone. So I'll start off with Soilstone because there's a certain process in regards to manufacturing each of the particular stones. Soilstone, then we start at group 1 and we go up to group 6. So group 1 being your least expensive and group 6 being your most expensive. Now, funnily enough, the likes of Calicut Gold, you know, we all know it, is in our most expensive category, but it's also our best-selling colour worldwide. So it does, you know, show, you know, it might be on the more expensive side, but if people want it, they will pay the money for it. And obviously it's a colour that we see constantly, time and time again, over the last 2 years since it came out with us. So if you're on a budget, obviously, because you do need to take that into consideration when you're renovating your house, and ask your kitchen designer or your company, or get in contact with us just in regards to the groupings. We cannot give you an exact price because, unfortunately, you know, you need the professionals to measure out your kitchen, see how much material is involved, what sort of a finish do you want, are you getting extras added on, what sort of countertop edge, are you putting in a recessed drainer, a backsplash, are you recessing a hob, etc. So there's a lot more to it, so we can never give an exact price, but we can give you an idea of, okay, this is in the most expensive category, this is in the middle of the range category, and this is in the lower category. And then at least you have an idea of where you're going, or in regards to, okay, these are the kind of colours I need to look at. So that's what I'd say for the Soilstone. Similar for the Dodekton also, in regards, we have groupings as well. Now, I know sometimes it can be deemed that Dodekton can be more expensive than Soilstone, but it's more of a case that it's just longer to manufacture. So someone who's cutting stone will cut Soilstone all day, all long, absolutely no issues at all, and they'll fly out the door. Whereas it's a slower process, and it requires an awful lot more skill cutting Dodekton. Now it's getting more and more popular. We've an awful lot of stonemasons in Ireland who are very talented and can cut Dodekton no problem. And we also provide training on it also. But it's just from a time element, it can be slower. So the fabricator needs to look at his costs and see in regards to what the finishing timeline is. So just keep that in mind in regards to when pricing both, or if you prefer one or another. But having said that, there's not a major price difference at the end of the day.
Between the two. Okay, so, that's interesting to know, because I did think Dodekton was a lot more expensive, but that's not the case.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. It's not. And tooling has improved, as well as, I suppose, people's being able to manufacture it easier as you get used to doing a product. You know, it's a relatively new product still. So it takes time, and you need a lot of skill involved in regards to cutting it. But to be fair, in Ireland, you know, we've jumped on the bandwagon since it was launched in 2013, and it's starting to become more and more popular, and becoming a case of, okay, if that job is Soilstone, that job is Defton, grand. It's just getting out there, so it's great.
That's great. And actually, I see a question there, great question, and it's one that people had sent in as well. Just the different edge options, and if, let's say, because if people wanted to go for a very thick edge with Dodekton, is that possible? Can you build up the edge, and how are these edges achieved?
In regards to the thicknesses of the material, is it?
Yeah, or how to have a thick edge on a countertop or something. Can you build up the edge, or what are the options?
So in regards to Dodekton, what we would recommend is a simple plain pencil edge finish. For this simple reason, in regards to it's quite a durable material, and that's just it's what we all do essentially. That's what it can be achieved on it. In regards to the Soilstone, then you can be a little bit more, you can put your bull nose edges essentially. It's just because it's a separate material, differently made in regards to the tooling and manufacturing. But either can be done in a thickness. You can miter the edges. You can make your waterfall gables essentially. You can do a big thick Dodekton edge if you want a big countertop or a big heavy, say almost like the American style countertops that are quite big. Absolutely, it can be achieved. Now,
brilliant. Okay.
Do keep in mind though costings in regards to that, because you are going into using more material. So that should be the thing.
Yeah, and I guess it's specialist to try and create these edges and details and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, we're very lucky. We're very highly skilled at this in Ireland. A lot of stonemasons can achieve it very seamlessly.
No, brilliant. Okay, Ciara, that's wonderful. Fantastic. And then are there, like somebody asked, what is the maximum thickness you would recommend on the edge? So that they really like the look of quite a chunky countertop. So what is the maximum that would be recommended?
It can be, as long as it's supported underneath, that it's a case with the kitchen and the cabinetry. I suppose there's a couple of things to take in mind. You know, it's still a large piece of stone, so you can't just leave it there and and not expect if something happens, if you hit against it or something. You know, it needs to be well supported. So what we'd recommend is that, I suppose, you can go as thick as you like, as long as you have something to support it underneath, depending on your cabinet maker or your cabinetry. Absolutely, there's no problem at all. So I'd say if you can design it and it's achievable, you can go as thick as you like. There's no problem at all. We do see mostly the most popular is the 20 mil in Dodekton. 100%. You do see some 12 mil countertops too, very, very thin. Again, has to be supported, and you would see the odd 30, and you'd also see 50.
50 mil would be common as well. Okay, great.
50 mil, and then sometimes you will see thicker, but obviously you're going into a higher price bracket, and you're also going into the cabinetry technicalities as well, because it still needs to be supported in your kitchen, because you want it to last. If you're going to invest that amount into a countertop, you want it to stay there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's brilliant advice. Fabulous. Great. And then just the different finishes, and with loads and loads and loads of questions about mixing finishes, in particular going for timber and mixing with quartz. And actually that can look really, really lovely. And it's a good way to balance out the cost as well, isn't it? Really, if you love the look of the quartz, but maybe, budget isn't there for the whole kitchen. So would you see that a lot? Is that quite common?
I would see that, and I actually think it's a lovely trend, especially with we're seeing an awful lot more wood in the kitchens again, which is fabulous to see. But it's lovely to have almost like a feature piece of wood in your kitchen with your quartz. or maybe have your quartz island or your Defton island, and maybe if your budget doesn't allow you to have quartz all over the kitchen, maybe on the actual kitchen run you could have wood then, or another particular worktop. But it can be a nice feature, absolutely. Just make sure if you are doing a island, say, and you're having maybe a feature corner or an L-shaped almost breakfast bar made out of a wooden countertop, that there's just a radius so that you're allowing the wood to expand and contract.
Very
and
good. Okay.
that it's not going to crack your quartz on you. That's the only thing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Great advice, Ciara. Okay, amazing.
But to be fair, I have to say, I don't think there's any kitchen maker or stonemason out there that wouldn't know that. To be fair,
about that, yeah. So they will advise. No, for sure. But actually, it's really interesting because there's an awful lot of people asking about retrofitting countertops. So, you know, one lady has laminate currently and is hoping to put quartz in. Other people asking, they're revamping their kitchen. The quartz is only 4 years old. Can they hang on to it, reuse parts of it? So that's all possible, isn't it? Or they may have to cut it, or...
The one thing I'll say is you'll have to talk to whoever is removing it for you. And
yes, okay. Yeah.
if you're changing around the kitchen and that, and if you're doing the exact same kitchen design, the one thing I'll say, obviously, you don't want to be going back and having joints everywhere. So
yes, good point.
Just I'm sure it can be achievable. Just don't break it when it's coming out, and try and absolutely. It all depends on the design and who's reinstalling it for you. So I'm sure absolutely it's an opportunity, but just be careful when you're doing it.
And you know what? Maybe that's an opportunity to mix materials. So, for example, if they have a piece of slab that could be reused on an island, and then put timber everywhere else, or contrast it so that you're not going to have clashing, you know, trying to match the same, because you'll never do that.
Absolutely. And what we're actually seeing an awful lot is two-tone kitchens in regards to the two-tone countertops. They may pick a light colour on their island if they don't want to darken the room too much, and a dark colour on their actual kitchen run, or vice versa. Or mixing different materials. There could be Soilstone on your kitchen and Dodekton on your island because you're prepping food a lot more and you want more durability. So it's something we're seeing an awful lot more, and it can visually look very well depending on the colour scheme.
Yes. No, amazing. And actually, again, when we were talking with Ed, he was saying what happens a lot is maybe if there's a very expensive Dodekton that they love, the top price level, but they couldn't afford to do it everywhere. So they're using quite a simple quartz and then using it as a splashback or something like that for impact. And the same with natural stone, you know, using the stone on the splashback where you're not so worried about staining, and then something more practical everywhere else. So
absolutely, and it can visually look really well, especially the likes of, you know, we've quite some busy patterns in the Defton, and there's quite a lot of busy marble materials out there. They can look fantastic up visually on a backsplash, or even if you cladded the wall a little bit. Now, I know here's now you're on about budgets, and I'm talking about cladding the wall in Defton or marble, but they can visually look really, really well, and they can just finish off a kitchen or a room perfectly.
No, beautiful. Okay, and then just on the finishes, one interesting question, I don't know the answer. Are there metallic finishes in Defton? Or any? I know you can get sparkly bits in quartz and things like that, but anything metallic?
Metallic, not as such metallic. Like we do have an industrial range, which is quite, you know, we do have, there's almost like the look of rust or some metallic,
or kind of almost coppery tones going
almost coppery tones.
Lovely.
It's very much like that. We also have another one, Trillium. It's very, very nice. But if you want to look on our Constantino website, you know, we've so many different colors available to us there. Have a look, see what you think you might like. We're also doing virtual tours at the moment as well, that you do the full slab. Absolutely. So if you get in contact with us, we can, you know, FaceTime you. We can, you know, we have to get creative in these times.
Ciara, that's brilliant, because I tell you, we had a great question from somebody. Now it's sort of too late. She'd ordered a countertop based on a picture, because she wasn't able to go out to the showroom because of COVID, so she couldn't get a sample. Thought everything was perfect. When it arrived, it was slightly more off-white than what she assumed was going to be white. So it just doesn't work with the kitchen at the moment. Now she is actually looking to see if anybody is interested in, she would be interested in selling it. So I can post this later. If anyone's interested, you can DM me. I can send you a picture or whatever. But Yeah, she just was asking like, what are people's options? So that's wonderful, like the virtual tour.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Or
we can.
send out samples, maybe. Can people, can they put out?
Yes, if someone's looking at changing their countertop, if they get in touch with themselves, you can DM me or you can send me an email, or any of us in Cosentino, Ireland. You know, we are working remotely, and I suppose trying to distance ourselves from the office as much as possible, but we are staggering, so we're minimizing contacts in regards to going into the offices and our warehouses. But in a safe way, we can go into the office if needed be.
Okay.
And we absolutely, we're open for business as usual as much as possible. So I can be in these times. So if somebody is looking for a sample, we can get them out 100%. If anybody would like to look at a full slab before they make their decision and they cannot get to their stonemason or their kitchen company, I can go on FaceTime, or one of my colleagues can, and we can show the full slab, no problem at all.
That is wonderful and really, really good, because it is the sort of thing you do need to see, you know, and I know, like, particularly on screens, it is impossible to pick colour. You know, they vary from screen to screen. So no, that's really great, Ciara. And then we had another question about, so how to get a quote. What is the quickest way to get a quote if they're looking at the moment just at countertops? Who should they approach for?
We actually have a system on the Cosentino website. Now, I know I keep referring to our website, but you can click, there's a little bubble that'll come up and says request a quote. Okay. So you can go in, you can give your price range, where you are in the country, you can expand your radius on it, and what it'll do is it will send it to 3 companies in that area that we deal with, and they can get in touch with you. So it's a great program.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's very handy in regards to getting a quote. Now, if you're already dealing with the kitchen studio and you're getting a new kitchen, talk to your kitchen designer, because a lot of these guys already deal with stonemasons and they have great relationships built up with them. They will get you a quote as well. So,
well, this lady actually, she said she has a kitchen commissioned, but needs to get a quote, and she's saying, what's the quickest way for me to do it? So perhaps they don't have a relationship with anyone in particular. So that's wonderful. Yeah,
so absolutely. So contact us directly. We'll get you, we're mad to sell, so we will get you in contact with anyone at all. There's absolutely no problem. And if not, talk to your kitchen company as well, because they may know someone, and if not, we'll happily help out.
Okay, that's wonderful, Ciara. Great. Fabulous. And then just, oh yes, the maintenance was another big thing, and what products to use, and people saying, good few people actually coming back saying that they have very dark countertops. Now I think some of them were laminates, products I wasn't that familiar with, but dark ones in particular, discoloring around a sink, and what products should they use, what should they not use, how to care for the Soilstone and Defton. What are the best?
Well, if you have a branded quartz product, so like the Soilstone or the Dodekton, they're non-porous materials. So that means a stain cannot get into them. It's different if it's a granite or a natural stone, because they can be breeding grounds for bacteria and everything, because they are porous. Now, unless they're sealed, like our Sensa collection is sealed, and we also back that up with a 15-year guarantee. So they should be fairly stain resistant. Around a sink area, would there be a case of maybe lime scale in the area? Now, I actually have a few cleaning products beside me here, because I knew question. So one thing is brilliant is for lime scale remover. Pop a little bit of this on. I actually had it not so long ago with a client that they were getting kind of little watermarks around their sink area, and it was driving her mad, because obviously it was showing up on our lovely white Soilstone worktop. So she popped a little bit of that on for 5 minutes, and then she washed it down with hot water, and it got rid of it. So she's saying she might have to do that maybe once every 6 weeks, just because there could be lime in the water. And she was going to look at water softeners, etc. on it. But this is definitely one of them for if you have lime scale, or you feel like you have any issues around the sink area. 9 out of 10 times it has to be lime scale. In regards to day-to-day care for the Soilstone, we have a product that we actually sell ourselves called Q Action. Now, you can get that off the stonemason that you bought it from, your countertop from, or your kitchen company. It's quite a good product in regards to cleaning your worktop down. Now, all you need is a spray of it, and then just wash it down with hot water. If
Brilliant.
You don't want to go and buy one of these products. Go into your local Mr. Price or Super Value, pick up a product called Cif ActiFizz. Won't break the bank for you, and use that on your countertop, wash it down with hot water. Stay away from your washing up liquids. Stay away from your normal day-to-day household cleaners, because what you will do is you will clean it down, but you will leave a film behind you, and you may not see it for a couple of weeks, but what you will see then is dirt, almost kind of, it looks like you're staining your countertop, and then you will have to strip it down again, essentially, to bring it back to the polish.
Bring it back. Wow. And I've heard the same. I know there's a furniture supplier that I know, and he would always say, don't use, you shouldn't, all these polishes and things that they sell are terrible for furniture. Just nice soapy water is the best thing to put on.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny, it's the same thing.
The simplest things, and obviously stay away from your harsh chemicals, stay away from bleaches, etc., because you could risk of taking the polish off the countertop. So you have to, even though it's quite maintenance free, there's just clean it correctly and you'll have no issues. Now, if you have a tough stain like coffee or red wine, or you were cooking spaghetti bolognese or the turmeric as well, and you have a very light or a white countertop, and you feel this isn't coming out, it's for me with your regular day-to-day cleaning, there is another product which is fantastic called Barkeeper's Friend. Wow. Now, it's available online, it's available in Home Store and more. It's absolutely fantastic in regards to cleaning stubborn stains. You don't need to use it all the time, but I would say when you're doing your deep cleaning, maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, pop a little bit on it, and it'll just bring up your countertop as well. And also, which is also brilliant, is these magic sponges.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic for cleaning your countertop with just a little bit of hot water.
Amazing. Ciara, could you share all of these with me, and we'll pop them in stories for people, because it's brilliant advice. And I think, what about at the moment where everybody is so hygiene conscious and spraying things like the Dettol sprays and antibacterial, and is that all right, or should you be cautious about some of those products?
I'd stay away from them, because I suppose you're very lucky in regards to your Soilstone and your Dodekton products. They are non-porous. No bacteria can get into the stone. So if you're washing it down, and hot water is the best thing to kill any bacteria anyway, so you're naturally killing it by washing everything down with hot water after your chemicals. And I suppose it's important anyway, because if you're using any sort of chemical on your countertop, and you're going preparing food and afterwards, you don't want chemicals left on the countertop. So make sure you've just washed everything down with hot water. Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. That's great, Ciara. Wow, fabulous advice. So yeah, please do share that, because I know everybody's going to be asking. So.
No problem at all. Absolutely.
That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, and is Defton the same? People are saying, so is it the same applies for both products, or is it just for
Defton? Well, I'll be honest, you won't really get them in Defton as such, because it's that bit of a stronger material, because there's no resin in it. So you shouldn't, just a bit of hot water and you'll clean down your Dodekton very, very easily. Or maybe the bit of the magic sponge, but you shouldn't really have the case of lime scale on a Dodekton worktop. And if you do, like that, the lime scale remover. But in regards to stubborn stains, you won't really get it with Dodekton. I've never had it in the 2 years I'm with the company that anyone has rang me up and said my Dodekton countertop is staining. You would have it with the quartz, and it'd be just a case that it'd be sitting and it wouldn't go into the stone and it will come off.
It does eventually. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
no, that's fabulous. Brilliant. And I see a question there. Can you flush mount hobs and sinks? So can you get them that they're completely flush into the surface?
Absolutely. In Soilstone, 100%. In Defton, it depends on the stonemason, if they're capable of doing it, if they have the machinery and the tooling. You can't do a full recessed drainer in Defton unless you have a particular session of machinery from the stonemason. But the flutes can be done.
Yes.
So at least you have something there in regards. So obviously, if you're doing your undermounted sinks, essentially. So it just depends on who you're using in the country. And look, it can be achieved.
Okay, fantastic. Great, Ciara. And actually, there was a question, somebody looking for what was it they were looking for? A Terrazzo countertop. So,
getting very popular, Terrazzo. It's very popular in tiles at the moment.
Is Terrazzo not really porous? It's a super soft stone, isn't it?
You see, what we would is we would mimic it. So it's not going to be actually terrazzo.
So you the terrazzo look, yes, because I mean the natural product wouldn't be suitable at all for a
we would no. Well, look at, I mean, each to their own. If someone wants to do it and they can get the sealed, you know, go ahead. If someone will tell you that they can do it and they can do it achievably, but we have very much lookalikes, and they're actually getting quite popular. And they were colors we wouldn't have considered very popular. Everything was veined, everything was bright for a while there. But we do have some lovely ranges, like this particular Blanco Maple and Blanco Stellar, and they have that almost terrazzo effect.
I know the Blanco Maple. It is absolutely beautiful. I'll share a picture because we used it a few years ago, and it's just stunning. It's totally timeless. It's beautiful.
And it won't ever date. It's out for years, but make sure you're going for a branded one, not a Chinese quartz, because it will stain on you. And make sure you're just going for a branded product in regards to that regard, 100%. Especially when it's a light color like that. But we do have a couple of ranges. We also have cream versions, variations as well. But to be honest, the white is nice to be with it, especially
really fresh.
Effect, and you want that almost like mirror, like this piece of mirror in the stone as well. So it's fabulous.
Gorgeous. No, it's really lovely. So maybe that person should just again reach out to you guys on the website and you
absolutely. You can pop ourselves a DM, we can or an email, go onto our website, get in contact with us. We'll happily send out samples if you want to have a look, compare it against your cabinetry, your tiles, etc., and just see if it's what you're looking for.
See how it works. Okay, amazing. And then actually you were mentioning just with the natural stone and sealing it, and we did have a question, just somebody saying, what should they be saying or asking the suppliers about that in advance of ordering the stone? Like what do they need to do typically?
So if you're going with a natural stone, and so say you're going with our Sensa stone in particular, we have a technology on our Sensa slabs that they do not need to be resealed by the fabricator. They are fully stain resistant. It's called Sensa treatment, Cosentino. And we created it as well over in Spain. So this particular treatment will turn your natural stone into, I suppose, the benefits of a man-made stone in regard to staining. So it comes in a range of colours that we have. And it's great for that kind. Now, if you're going for a marble or you're going for a granite that isn't treated from Sensa, it will need to be sealed. And it will need to be resealed in the coming years again. So that just takes, obviously you're not going to have that with a quartz or a man-made stone like Dodekton also, but you will do it with your natural stone. So just keep that in mind. But to be fair, they would know that anyway. Your stonemason and your kitchen suppliers that are selling the products, they would definitely know that it would need to be resealed. And just a little bit minding in it, but can be achieved also and can look great. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, great. And is the sealing done before the stone is fitted or after? How normally would that happen?
So they would seal it in the factories, and then they may need to come into the home and reseal it, obviously as a maintenance customer service trip. But to be honest, it's not as popular as the quartz or the Dodekton. I think people are going for the more practical options.
Definitely. And you know, as you were saying, the products have come on. There's so many options now, so many variations. And I think we were chatting about this, you know, there was a lot of, everybody was sort of going for the same thing for a long time, but now people are looking for really different things. They're trying to differentiate themselves. So, you know, that's where particularly Defton comes into its own. There's just so much choice.
It's fantastic. It really is. It really is. And like that, we've a beautiful range coming out again this year in Defton, and they really are going to blow it out of the water because they just look so like marble. They are absolutely fabulous. And we've another range then obviously in Soilstone coming out too that will really showcase the trends that are happening at the moment, especially the earth colours, your mauves, they're just really going with the trends at the moment. And they're going to match obviously the door trends that are out. So it'll really work. So from both products, we're covered each side. So there's a lot of colours to choose from. Sometimes
very exciting. No, it's great. And then I'll finish on this one question, which was, and it comes back to the Calacatta marble. It's a lady who's she's doing a white kitchen with black ironmongery, tiny little sort of shaker detail. She was going to go with the Calacatta Aura, but she just feels everybody's using it and she'd like to do something a bit different, what products would you recommend
So
for her to look at?
No, Calicat Gold, it's fabulous. It's still our #1 out there at the moment. But I get what she means in regards she wants something different. Now, it won't date either, Calicat Gold, because it is definitely here to stay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been around for so many years. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually think one of our latest colours in Defton Rem is a beautiful alternative because it has a similar veining, but it's just that the layout isn't particularly as the Calicat Gold is. It's just a slight differentiation against it. It still has a colour scheme, so it would work for her. We also, I suppose, do have other variations of Calicata as well. We have a classic Calicata, and we have another versions coming out as well. Bianco Calicata is another one we have as well. So they're slightly different. And we have 2 other colours that were launched the end of last year called Eternal Bella and Eternal Dior. So one has a very sharp, kind of almost a rust colour vein, and the other has almost a navy vein going through it.
Wow.
So they're more colour variations there, but yet they're coming from the same family as the Calicat. We're evolving it, and obviously
that's amazing. And I love the idea of the color in the veining, because then you can pick up your navy kitchen or navy upholstery or whatever, and that is just beautiful.
It is.
And again, it won't date, because I think those sort of it's a classic pattern, being that it's like a natural marble, but just having that hint of color is a lovely way just to make it that little bit different, which is great.
It is. Exactly. And I suppose you want your kitchen, I suppose, when you're sitting in it, we're using the kitchen for so much more than just preparing food and eating. We're living in our kitchens these days, a lot of us. My home office is in my kitchen.
Oh yeah, everything is in the kitchen now. Yeah,
it is. So it's important that we're investing in the space that we're using all the time. In regards to your countertops, that we can be relaxed around them, and the different color schemes that they're going with our personalities, etc. So it's good to see the differentiation of the colors coming back 100%.
Okay, brilliant. And I know I said that was the last question, but there's one that I totally forgot about, and actually it's a very good question. Are there differences in quality between the different levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is it purely color, or what is it that sets them apart?
What sets them apart is cost of the raw materials that go into each. So our products, they all come with the same 25-year guarantee in regards to quality, and we're very much, we stand over that 100%. We want to have the best products out there to showcase on the market, because we want people to like the product. We want it to be perfect for them in their homes, and there's going to be no hassle with them, and that's why we stand over them 100%. And if there's an issue, you get in contact with us and we will try and resolve it for you ASAP, because that it's I suppose it's one of our ethos of the company that the quality is #1. So depending if you're going for the lowest group or the highest group, the quality is the same.
Okay, and that's great. That's great for people to know, because this person was, I think they're choosing between 2 and 3, and they were just wondering, am I getting better quality if I go for the more?
No, not at all. You're still getting the same quality. It's just the raw materials in regards to the cost of making the slab, and that's the whole idea behind it. Because obviously, the more veined materials, there are different raw materials that are used, and there's a little bit more involved in creating that slab. Whereas maybe something in group 2 or group 3, like your Blanco Maple, for example, there's the specs in it. So it may not require the veining, obviously, technique that they use. So there might be less time involved in regards to creating the raw materials and getting it together.
Fabulous. Ciara, you are a wealth of information. I mean, I could honestly talk to you all day. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And you just answered all of those questions. It's just so much information. And I think just give people so much more confidence when they're choosing and knowing what to do. So thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant. Thanks a million.
No, thank you so much for having me. And look, it was great to be on and talking about what we do. And exactly, we're here to assist anyone we can. I know it's difficult times. I think a lot of us are looking at changing our kitchens at the moment. So it's quite a topical conversation at present. So thank you so much for having me, Denise. Really appreciate it.
Not at all, a pleasure. And please send me the cleaning product one, because I know I'm going to be pestered about that. So, and I'll share it. You also, and I'm sorry, you also sent me some lovely images, which I'll share with people as well now afterwards. And yes, any questions, come back to either Ciara or myself. We'd love to hear from them. But thank you so much. Have a lovely weekend. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ciara. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.